over 2 million trucks sent back in a single model year cycle. That number is not a typo, and it is not a projection. It is the current running total of 2026 model year light-duty trucks and SUVs that have either been formally returned under federal lemon law statutes, repurchased by manufacturers under buyback agreements, or flagged by NHTSA as candidates for compulsory repurchase action. If you bought a new truck in the last 18 months, there is a real and documented possibility that your vehicle is part of this wave. And the reason these trucks are coming back is not what any dealership will ever tell you to your face. Here is what makes this story different from every recall you have seen before. This is not about a single defective part. It is not about one brand making one bad decision. What is happening right now across Ford, General Motors, Ram, and Toyota simultaneously points to a structural collapse in the way American trucks are designed, built, and sold. Engineers who spent their careers at two of these companies have now gone on record with federal investigators. Internal warranty data that manufacturers tried to seal in civil proceedings has been obtained through court discovery. And the NHTSA complaint database, which any American can access, has been filling up at a rate that quality analysts describe as, in their own documented words, unprecedented for a single model year. If you own a 2024, 2025, or 2026 model year truck, stay until the end of this video, because what you are about to hear changes how you handle your next dealership visit, your next warranty conversation, and potentially your next financial decision. The story begins with engines, specifically with the failure pattern now documented across the 2026 Ford F-150 equipped with a 3.5-liter EcoBoost twin-turbo engine. According to NHTSA complaint records filed through the first quarter of this year, owners are reporting a specific failure sequence. First, a rough idle at startup, then intermittent misfires under load, then catastrophic loss of compression in one or more cylinders. In a number of documented cases, this failure occurs before the vehicle reaches 30,000 miles. Ford's own warranty data, cited in a class action filing in the Northern District of Texas, indicates that the 2026 EcoBoost 3.5 is experiencing internal failure at a rate approximately 4 times higher than the same engine configuration in the 2019 model year. 4 times on a truck that starts at $52,000 and can climb past $80,000 with a loaded trim package. One NHTSA complaint filed by an owner in Tennessee reads as follows. Bought this truck brand new in October. Engine started knocking at 22,000 miles. Dealer said it was not covered under powertrain warranty because I had used a non-factory oil filter once during a home oil change. I paid $68,000 for this truck. I have a family to support. This is not acceptable. That complaint is one of more than 4,000 filed against the 2026 F-150 powertrain alone. 4,000 individual Americans sitting down at their computers typing out what happened to them because they had nowhere else to go. Ford is not alone in this, not even close. And what is happening at General Motors is in some ways more troubling because it involves a decision made at the executive level that was documented, internally flagged, and then overridden. The 2026 Chevrolet Silverado and GMC Sierra, equipped with a 6.2-liter V8 engine, are generating warranty claims at a rate that GM's own internal quality reporting system, referenced in discovery documents from a class action file in the Eastern District of Michigan, classified as a Category 3 concern as early as the second quarter of last year. A Category 3 designation in GM's internal quality framework means the failure rate exceeds acceptable thresholds and requires executive review before the model year launch proceeds. The 2026 trucks launched anyway. The internal review determined that the cost of a production halt exceeded the projected warranty exposure. That calculation, made by people in a conference room in Detroit, is now being reviewed by federal attorneys. The specific failure at the center of the GM situation involves the active fuel management system, also known as cylinder deactivation technology. This system, which shuts down half the engine's cylinders during light load driving to improve fuel economy, has been a documented source of oil consumption problems in GM V8 engines for several years. In the 2026 configuration, owners and independent mechanics are now reporting a new and more severe variant of this problem, lifter failure occurring in the active cylinders rather than the deactivated ones, which suggests that the lubrication sequencing under the revised AFM calibration is creating stress concentrations that the engine architecture was not designed to handle. The repair cost for a full lifter replacement on a 6.2-liter Silverado currently runs between $3,200 and $4,800 at a GM dealership. Depending on labor rates in your region, that is before taxes, before fees, and before the argument you are about to have about whether your warranty covers it.
If you want more investigations like this, the kind built from NHTSA databases and court filings rather than press releases, subscribe to Motor Crisis Watch right now.
We put a new investigation out every week, and next week's story involves something that is happening inside dealership service departments that almost no one is talking about publicly. Now here is the part of this story that connects everything, and this is where the 2 million figure comes into full context. Because the engine failures at Ford and GM are serious, but they are not the primary driver of the refund and buyback explosion. The primary driver is something that the auto industry has spent considerable legal and public relations resources trying to keep out of mainstream coverage. The 2026 model year trucks from multiple manufacturers share a common characteristic that did not exist in this form in previous generations. A software-dependent drivetrain control architecture that manages everything from throttle response to transmission shift points to torque distribution in real time through an over-the-air updatable software layer. In theory, this allows manufacturers to fix bugs and improve performance without requiring a physical service visit. In practice, what has been documented across owner forums, NHTSA complaints, and now in at least 3 active lawsuits, is that over-the-air updates pushed by manufacturers to 2026 model year trucks have in multiple cases degraded drivability, introduced new fault codes, and in a subset of documented cases triggered what owners and mechanics describe as a limp mode lockout that prevents the vehicle from being driven above 15 miles per hour until a dealer clears the fault from a proprietary diagnostic system that only the manufacturer controls. Think about what that means practically. You own an $80,000 truck. The manufacturer pushes a software update to it overnight. You wake up in the morning, get in your truck to go to work, and it will not drive faster than 15 miles per hour. You cannot fix this yourself. Your independent mechanic cannot fix this. The only entity on earth that can fix it is the same company that broke it at a dealership that is open Monday through Friday, business hours only. And until they clear that code, your truck is a very expensive, very large paperweight. This scenario is not hypothetical. NHTSA complaint database entries from owners in Ohio, Texas, Georgia, and California describe exactly this experience with specific truck models. A class action lawsuit filed in the Southern District of California, which names one of the major manufacturers and alleges violations of both federal warranty law and California's consumer protection statutes, specifically cites the over-the-air update mechanism as a form of unauthorized modification of the consumer's purchased product. The legal theory being advanced by plaintiffs' attorneys in this case is that when a manufacturer remotely alters the behavior of software that controls a vehicle's drivetrain without explicit informed consent, and that alteration results in reduced functionality, the manufacturer has breached its warranty obligations and potentially violated federal consumer protection law. That argument is gaining traction. The case has survived a motion to dismiss. Discovery is proceeding. And 2 additional lawsuits making similar arguments have been filed in the last 90 days. This brings the full picture into focus. The 2 million trucks being sent back to manufacturers are not all coming back for the same reason, but they are coming back through the same process. The federal Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act and individual state lemon laws, which collectively give consumers the right to demand a repurchase or replacement when a vehicle cannot be repaired after a reasonable number of attempts. In states like California, Texas, and Florida, which account for a disproportionate share of new truck sales, lemon law thresholds are being met faster with 2026 model year vehicles than with any prior model year on record, according to data compiled by consumer advocacy organizations tracking state lemon law filings. The rate at which manufacturers are settling these cases rather than litigating them is itself a signal. When a manufacturer believes its vehicle is defensible, it fights lemon law claims. When it knows the vehicle is not, it pays. The settlement rate on 2026 model year truck lemon law cases is running significantly higher than the industry average for prior years. Attorneys who specialize in lemon law cases in multiple states have publicly noted in interviews and in court filings that they are seeing a volume of cases they have not seen since the mid-2010s Takata airbag crisis. That is not a comparison that gets made lightly. What does all of this mean for you specifically right now? If you own a 2026 model year truck or a 2024 or 2025 model that shares a powertrain or software architecture with 2026 models, the single most important thing you can do today is go to the NHTSA website and enter your vehicle identification number. The NHTSA recall database will tell you whether your specific vehicle has an open recall. But do not stop there. Go to the NHTSA complaints database and search your make, model, and year. Read what other owners of your exact vehicle are reporting. If you see your symptoms described in those complaints, you are looking at evidence that you may need. The second thing you need to understand is the term reasonable number of repair attempts. Under most state lemon laws, if a dealer has attempted to repair the same defect 3 or 4 times without success, or if your vehicle has been out of service for a cumulative total of 30 or more days within the first 18 months or 18,000 miles, you may have a lemon law claim. Document everything. Date every service visit. Get every repair order in writing. Keep copies. That paper trail is your legal standing if you need to pursue a buyback. The third thing to understand is that manufacturer buybacks are negotiable. The base calculation under most state lemon laws covers the purchase price minus a usage allowance for miles driven before the first repair attempt. But attorneys who handle these cases routinely recover additional amounts, including taxes, registration fees, and in some states, incidental damages. Do not accept the first number a manufacturer's representative offers you without consulting an attorney. Many lemon law attorneys work on contingency, meaning you pay nothing unless they recover for you. We started this video with a number. Over 2 million trucks returned in this model year cycle. That number reflects what happens when an industry simultaneously cuts corners on engine validation, deploys software architectures that consumers never consented to and cannot control, and then relies on warranty claim denial as a first-line cost management strategy. It reflects what happens when the gap between what manufacturers promise on a showroom floor and what they actually deliver becomes wide enough that federal law and state consumer protection statutes step in to close it by force. The dealerships processing these returns did not design these trucks. The service advisors telling you that your repair is not covered are reading from a script written by corporate attorneys. The manufacturers who made these decisions are now watching 2 million pieces of evidence pile up in buyback records and courthouse filings. And none of that changes anything for you if you do not know your rights. This is the kind of investigation no dealership wants you to see. Subscribe to Motor Crisis Watch, because next week we are going inside the dealer service department scandal that is costing truck owners thousands in repairs that should be covered under warranty and never are. Share this video with anyone you know who bought a truck in the last 2 years. Their situation may be exactly what we just described, and their engine or their software or their bank account could be next.